Well, ladies and gentlemen, this changes everything today. And I don't say that lightly. We have had some absolute bombshell reports that have released today. In fact, there's so much that was released today. From 6 a.m. was the first one. Yeah, this story was 6 a.m. through to about 2 hours ago with the last one. I didn't even know which one to begin with because there's so much to update you on. And this is a very special day for me because for the last 2 or 3 years I've been talking about this program that I wanted to create for you, the gold and silver investing program. And today is finally the day when we're going to pre-launch. But I want to tell you about after because this is really important that you understand what is going on today and these reports that have come out. So we're going to start with the least important. Well, now, in fact, let's start with the middle importance of it. So we remember during lockdowns and things like that, I talked about how the government couldn't just keep printing currency, although they call it money. I said they couldn't do that because what would happen is you'd get massive inflation, and I wasn't far off. I know I said it could go up to 13 or 14%, but we did get to 11 or 12%. So it was pretty accurate when all of those economists were saying, we're not going to get inflation, nothing's going to come of it, it's going to be fine. Well, we know what happened. We saw it ourselves. We got double-digit inflation and everything went up in price. Your savings were, for many people, dropped by 10, 15% purely because of inflation. Now, a report that's just come out today, and this is a big one, is that the money printing experiment, as they call it, they said has now failed, and it's become such a burden that each household in the UK is on the hook for £5,000. This isn't a joke. That is what it says in the report. £5,000 per British household that Rachel Reeves at some point is going to look at how each household, how that's going to be recovered. It's not going to be recovered. Let's just start with that. But what will happen is they will start to put in other measures that is going to cripple the economy because they think they're going to pay this back. Because remember, a lot of these central banks around the world, they're not even the Federal Reserve, right? It's neither federal nor is it a reserve. It's owned by private shareholders. The Bank of England is set up slightly different, but it's not much better. So talking about how this is going to be written off, the Bank of England Andrew Bailey has basically said no, it's not going to be written off and no one's going to interfere with bank policy. Really? What's going on there? Why is he so angry about these proposals to write off some of this debt? Is it because there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about? I think the answer is yes. So the report pretty much says what I said a long time ago. And I think it's funny how they keep calling it money and all of this money. It's not money because it doesn't fulfill on the 7 principles of money. That's why it is a fiat currency. Fiat from the Latin, let it be, i.e. what they say is what it is. So they call it money, but it's not money. It is just a fiat currency of which none have ever survived. They always end in hyperinflation. Zimbabwe, Hungary, we could give loads of examples. We've seen Venezuela recently. We've seen all of these examples throughout history, right back to the Roman times of debasement of the silver coins. I've got some denarius here that I picked up the other day. Even back to Greek times, right? We can go right the way back. They debase the currency and they destroy our savings. This is what the government does. So this is one report that has come out today. And they said that they're going to do it again. This is not a joke. They said they're looking to do it again because it's the best way to get out of this mess. They want to help with both the fiscal policy and monetary policy because they know that Rachel Reeves just doesn't understand what she's doing. There really needs to be a very competent economist in that role, or at least a board of economists. Whereas for me, that's not her. She should be sort of chairing the board, getting all this advice and then going on those actions, not just coming up with all these crazy things. So right now the bank is selling all of the stockpile of gilts back into the market, which is called QT or quantitative tightening. This is resulting in billions of pounds of losses already. And here's the chart actually, so you can see for yourself. This is the US losses, this is the EU losses, this is the UK losses. Do you realise how small the UK is compared to these economies? Look at these losses, they are absolutely piling up. These bonds that they bought for £1 are being sold now for 28p, and it's the taxpayer that's on the line for these, on the hook. They're saying that they brought value to you, but they didn't. It's a lie. This is, again, look at the chart. It is crashing, absolutely crashing. And I want to link this to what's just been announced with the US and Japanese economy as well. Again, it doesn't matter where you look. Every single one of these, the highlighted section there is the United Kingdom. But here's one thing. The Reform Party said if they get into power, they're going to stop paying interest on the reserves held at the central bank. However, Andrew Bailey has just come out and said they're not allowed to do this even if they get into power, and they will not significantly harm the credibility of the monetary policy. In other words, what he's saying is they don't want to lose control. The bank doesn't want to lose control on all of this currency creation that they do out of thin air, and then it filters down. The people closest to the top get the money. This is going to keep continuing. There's no end in sight for this. They are going to absolutely ruin. If they do even more of this, they're going to ruin the economy. They think they're going to do a QT and QE program at the same time. I want to just move, oh gosh, we've got to cover these reports, but I want to just tell you about the gold and silver program now then. And it's interesting because we're seeing all of these articles coming out just non-stop at the moment. This was one out of City AM. UK retail investors flock to gold. People are flocking to gold right now. And I think people should be also looking at silver, but then they're not, sort of moving it sideways. But gold is where everyone is flocking to. Retail, even the big investors are buying into gold. Why? Well, this is all because of this increased uncertainty over the tariff policy, where we've already seen what's happening. There's only one country winning at the moment, and an uptick in capital gains tax. Now, the reason why is because and again, it's different for each country, so we can talk about each one separately, but the UK, if you buy certain gold in the UK, it's actually exempt from capital gains tax. So this is why a lot of people are rushing to gold at the moment. There was just a survey that came out, and it was 58% that were surveyed, these are investors, think that gold will increase in value over the next year, higher than any other asset class, even the stock market. Why? Why do people think, why do all these investors think that? It's because the FTSE 100 hasn't performed well, a lot of the other indices haven't performed well, but what has happened is, and again this is psychological, same with some of the other stuff we're talking about here, what drives all of these markets? It's psychology. When the people, and this is all these reports coming out, right? When the people think things are bad, then things become bad, because that's how people move. It's the mentality of the group. If everyone thinks the economy is great and booming, people go out and continue spending and investing and doing everything else. Businesses continue to hire, they invest, they get loans from the banks. So gold prices have been booming, as you know we forecast they would, and they have really well. I want to bring you back in a second to something I made 5 years ago. I think a lot of you subscribed from a video that I made where I talked about the gold to silver ratio, why I went all in on silver, and many people thought I was crazy. People did all sorts of videos and everything on this investment that I did, and it paid off 3 months later, and I doubled my money. And I want to sort of explain how I did that. But these charts show everything. The charts, in fact, let's have a look at the charts a moment here, because we can actually see where gold is right now, $3,300 an ounce. Look at it over the last year, ladies and gents. Look at this. A year ago, it was 2,300. It's gone up from 3,300. Let's look at silver then. It's $33 an ounce. look at the movement. It's so volatile, and that's because it's not just a precious metal, it's also a commercial metal. But this was the video that started it all, and it was 5 years ago. I didn't even realize it's got 500,000 views on this because I hadn't looked at it. But this was the video that really did it. And I talked about how I was swapping my gold here for, here it is, I was swapping it for silver, and I explained why due to this peak here. Let's skip forward. And I said that, okay, the silver has crashed and there's a big gap and everything like that. And I talked about the gold price and how it was at a peak here at $1,700. So I went through all of this and I did a big sort of thesis on it. And if we go back, I want to just show you this because this is a massive opportunity for you, absolutely huge. Here it was. So this is it. In fact, we need to go back to the 10-year. Here it is. So this was the peak of it here, 122, and that was March. And if you remember my video, this was May. This was two months later when I'd executed on that trade. Because what did I do? You see, it was 120. It pulled all the way down, and that's when I sold and doubled because I did a trade of my silver and gold. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I want to show you, look at this right now. Look where we are. We're at 100 to 1. Now, why is this important? Well, because historically, if you look at the gold to silver ratio, and we could go all the way back to the Roman Empire here. I can tell you all the numbers. You know, it's like 17 to 18 to 1 for one gold coin. An ounce, if you want to say, was equivalent to 17, 18 silver. And then as time went by through different periods, it sort of went up. But it's always been 60 to 70, maybe 80, if we look at modern day because of the medicinal use and other things. It's used in medical equipment, industry. There's like so much going on around silver now. But it's never been 100 to 1 or 120 to 1. So it tells you one or two things. Either gold is massively overpriced, or silver is massively underpriced. And it depends. It depends on the period. You've got to look at the fundamentals. But let me just bring this back in here then, because this, what I want to offer you today is access to the new program. So this is a pre-filming discount. I've been working on this for years. It involves the last 25 years of me investing in gold and silver to an extremely advanced level where I can do trades like that. So this is you can either do the bundle, I've got the normal investment course, and I've got the advanced course. And it's just going to cover absolutely everything you want to know. How to invest into precious metals, how to achieve financial freedom, thrive in any crisis, how to avoid government confiscation on your gold, because this, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in the future. What I just mentioned, the gold to silver ratio, building a global portfolio. This is where you can use international vaults, how you can hold it personally. I've already interviewed some of the top experts. We're going to be interviewing experts from around the world in mining and royalties and streamers, how to create a pension. I mean, this is absolutely huge. The overview is just scratching the surface. Already, this is just the basic one. It's 15 modules. It's huge, absolutely enormous with all of these bonuses. I mean, it's impossible to really put a value on it, but I'm going to be doing this bundle for $427 with a 30-day money-back guarantee. I mean, it is for 25 years worth of doing this stuff, all my notes and putting it together. It is just going to be an amazing program. So the link is below. If you don't want to do the whole bundle, then you can do either the normal course or the advanced course. And I've got them here. So I will do the normal course for $197, and then the advanced course will be $297. So the bundle is really where you'll get the most value. But this is what's happening. People are rushing to gold right now. This continues on in terms of the coverage. 73% of investors believe that companies producing precious metals are good options for investment. This rises to almost 80% with millennials, and 70% think that these are even better than AI kind of stocks, which surprised me. So we've seen a lot of movement, especially the older the person is, the more they're behind the weight of precious metals, because they know what is happening. They know we're having this destabilization with the different economies. Why? Geopolitical tensions, market volatility, fears over inflation rearing its head. We'll come on to this in a second. We've still got the big report. We've got people are just becoming more bullish. Even miners, people are getting into miners and streamers. I actually cover that in the advanced course, so you'll get all of that information. This article came out on the gold to silver ratio as well, which sort of explains it a little bit, but I cover that in detail. But you look at what's just happened in the UK. Inflation, after they've been saying, oh, it's going to keep dropping, it's just exploded upwards. It's hit 3.5% in April. Why? Because of what we already talked about, and you're a loyal subscriber on the channel. You know what's happening. Household bills are going up. Food prices are going up because they keep attacking the farmers. Vehicle duty has gone up. Airfare costs have gone up. Why have the airfare costs gone up? Rachel Reeves was asked, and she said, it's disappointing, but we'll go further and faster to put more money in people's pockets. What? She was asked a question. She said it's disappointing, but we'll go further and faster to put money in people's pockets. What is she talking about, ladies and gents? What is she talking about? No one knows what she's talking about. I have no idea. I can answer the question. Why have the airfares gone up? In fact, we'll come to that in a second, because it's also council tax. Council taxes have gone up because they're going bankrupt. Water's gone up, gas has gone up, electricity has gone up, all sorts of bills have gone up. This is where they said it was coming all the way down, remember? Well, look, I've plotted it for you. It's coming back up. It is tracing back up. Bread's gone up. Meat, they said we don't know why meat has gone up. Because of all the taxes. Again, trying to put all these taxes on meat and stop people eating meat and buying the farmers out, rewilding the land because it causes methane and CO2 nonsense and all the other stuff they're saying about all the animals need to cull all the livestock. They're getting paid to cull their livestock. They should be put in prison, some of these politicians, for the things that they've been doing to our food supply. We talked about the other day what they're doing to the food supply. It's shocking, absolutely shocking. And the services inflation as well. It's gone from 4.7 up to 5.4%. It goes on and on. But the airfare is the worst. It rose by 27, it's in black and white, 27.5% in April. Do you know why it went up by that? They don't tell you in this report. They say that we're not sure. It's because of all of these carbon emissions, these taxes, and all the other stuff that they are putting on, these stealth taxes. If you try and book a flight, you actually look at the breakdown, you click the drop-down arrow, it will show you all of these green taxes. Where does that money go? Does anyone know where that money goes? They say it goes to combating climate change. I've done the research, I've done the information request, freedom of information request. They don't reply or they don't give me the information I ask for. Please do it yourself. We need to know where this money's going. They don't say where it's going. They're not clear, they're lying. And then the last one then, big one, there's now a debt crisis bigger than what happened to Greece, threatening both the US and the UK. This is massive. The Japanese bond market is in a huge crunch. And it's not just the Japanese is the worst, it's the red line, but the UK has now overtaken the others. The UK is now in second place. They said that Japan is the canary in the coal mine, but they're saying be very careful if you're holding UK debt because they are expecting some bad things. I need to read the full report to get the details, but this is shocking, ladies and gents, what is going on. The US has been downgraded as well. Things are really breaking up, big time. But please have a look at the gold and silver bundle. I'm opening up, because it's a pre-sale, remember, I'm pre-recording. I'm opening up certain slots per day. So go quickly now and grab the slots. There'll be some every day. Go now. Thanks so much. Take care. God bless.